Greetings, adventurers. This is DM Kurt, and last week, Ted from Nerd Immersion, whose channel I don't recommend, asked the question: if there was one monster that your 5th edition D&D characters could fight for levels 1 through 20 or throughout their whole campaign career, what would it be? Now, first of all, that's not really a fair question, because there's really not going to be much of a monster that can be a reasonable threat to first level characters, and yet at the same time be any sort of a challenge to teen and higher level characters in 5th edition, because the power level of the characters goes up at such a steep angle. Every single level you're getting some additional ability and just becoming more and more powerful to like superhero levels. But something I would answer is, I think that the Wight, Wight, has some of the best potential for being a fairly wide level antagonist. So it's a CR3, and so in theory, a first level character party that manages to get the drop on it and are good thinkers could probably take it out if they're lucky and clever. It's been around since 1st edition, and it's changed a little bit over the years. So currently, as it stands, it is a medium-sized humanoid undead. It has average intelligence and slightly above average stats for everything else other than intelligence. Average intelligence is that of an average human, average fighter, average peasant. I mean, it's not terribly dumb. As a tool-using humanoid, it can pick up weapons and use them. In fact, it's given 2 attacks per round, which is basically the same as a 5th through 8th level fighter. And those 2 attacks can be split between longsword, longbow, or a hand-to-hand attack that does damage of necrotic type against your maximum hit points. This is energy drained 5th edition style, and that's pretty scary. That's pretty spooky. Now, it also has a special ability in 5th edition of being able to create zombies out of those that it defeats. Now, in previous editions, it would create wights out of those it defeats, and those wights would rise up and be a little less powerful than the master one, who's a CR3 in this case. But that's still pretty useful. So if you take into account that this is a tool using creature, it could pick up better weapons and better equipment. It's given an AC of about 14. It's assumed to have studded leather armor and a point or 2 of bonus from dexterity. It could find better armor. It could find better weapons than a normal longsword or longbow. As a fighter type creature, it could use its minions to be a blocking or diversionary group. It could use the tactics of higher ground, ambush, striking from behind cover, etc. And the use of tactics will make a creature tougher than their stat block would immediately appear. So, given that it could use minions and cannon fodders, all that sort of stuff, their tactics could allow them to hit well above their weight class. But let's say that you're willing to change their abilities a little bit. Now, keeping within what this creature is, I mean, it's basically an undead fighter, okay, normal fighter, and with the ability to create some handy zombies or something to obey it and carry out its will. I allowed wights in my Tomb of Annihilation campaign to raise a zombie, Ankylosaurus, and use that to bash down the gate of a fort. Now, that's not a normal zombie. You're zombifying a creature rather than a humanoid, but I thought close enough. You could lean into its fighter abilities and go into Battle Master route and give them tripping or disarming moves. That would be interesting. I think the players would really be surprised and thrilled to fight something that's using some of the same dirty tricks that they're willing to use. You could perhaps allow the Wight to use its energy draining attack through its sword the same way that a paladin uses divine smite. Now, if this creature has a sword that throbs with black, black energy, and hits them and does damage against their max hit points, and this cold, draining power, that'd freak them out. And then when they pick up the sword afterwards, they'd expect it to be magical. Maybe it's just a normal +1, but the problem is that the creature's abilities. What if the creature healed itself through the use of its energy drain? That would be spooky and scary for an opponent. Or perhaps upgrade its ability to create zombies. Bring that back to the ability to create wights. Now you could end up with one master creature that sort of does a plague of undead throughout the land. It raises up a squad, a platoon, a company of evil undead soldiers to strike fear in the hearts of many. Could be quite the campaign just based off that. You're starting off with a little CR3 idea and really ramping it up. Maybe consider that this creature, this intelligent creature, has had possibly a century to plan and study and do whatever. And maybe it's learned magic so that it can cast spells like an Eldritch Knight. Now, the Eldritch Knight fighter type, they can cast spells off of the wizard list, if I'm not mistaken, that can either augment their fighting powers or hinder their opponents. And as the DM, you could kind of adjust this idea to however it seems to fit thematically and mechanically would work out well for you. That's just an idea. I think that the Wight would be a pretty handy monster to use for a fairly wide range of party level, depending on how you use them and how you possibly modify them. Anyway, that's it. DM Kurt out.